Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Apprentice Time with Rainy Bonsai. Today I'm back in the First Branch studio, and I've been asked to revisit this tree that was styled last year. I'm gonna take off all of this wire and then turn some of these failed branches into jins. I'm pretty excited to get started. Let's get to it. I'm starting out with my wire cutters, just gonna come through, try to find a nice open spot in the wire where it's not touching the tree and make my snips. And I'm not going to force this wire off. Really, I'm going to try and make cuts about every half turn or so and just let the pieces fall away. Actually, I'm going to try and catch them, but you see how that's working out so far. Do you like the tune selection? If not, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to hear next time. What do you guys do with your leftover copper wire? We've been hoarding it down here for what seems like forever. But we've kind of ran into an issue where recycle centers don't want any of the organic stuff. And at first, we were not being super good about, removing wire from branches as they're removed from trees. Like, the urge to just snip it off is strong, especially in workshops when you have something all wired up and you just decide, you know what, I don't need this, and you cut it out. So through the winter, I actually went through a lot of those copper wire buckets we've got where it's just collecting, and removed as much of the organic matter as I could. And then we actually did a little fire to try and burn off anything else that was left. It's kind of ridiculous. It was a little overkill, and also it kind of instilled in me the importance of just taking it off right from the get-go, because I do not want to sit down and do that again. That was, I think I spent 2 or 3 weeks mostly just pulling wire off of stuff, like coming through and getting all the organic matter out of just buckets and buckets and buckets of discarded copper. Trying to be very delicate, mindful that I'm not nicking the bark. Okay, so this is actually dead. So I'm just trying to assess what parts of it are even valuable as deadwood. Trying to leave myself some extra length to work with when I do get going. And I just snipped really the twiggy portions because it's much easier for me to just uncoil it. Though this is something you probably don't have to do unless your goal is to recycle this wire. I feel like the rest of this is going to be a montage while I get this wire off. I'll see you guys when it's time to start carving. Hey, bonsai enthusiasts! We'd like to take a moment to thank our new sponsor, Mirai. Supporting this channel is easy. Just check out the affiliate link below. Now, we're especially excited to talk about Mirai's inspiring new nonprofit, the One Tree Project. Their mission is to connect people with nature through bonsai, fostering a bond between a single tree and its caretaker, with the vision of conserving forests and ancient trees worldwide. The One Tree Project is looking for passionate volunteers to help build a youth program and spread the word. Want to learn more or lend your support? Check out the link below. Let's grow this movement together, one tree at a time. Okay, here's the hand carving tools I'm going to use today. I've got 2 chisels, 2 scoopy tools, and my jinshari knife. And one thing I appreciate about the jinshari is if you can get under the bark just right, you tend to be able to just peel it right off. And in case this needs to be said, be very mindful if you do this. Watch your fingers. These blades are sharp. Okay, so this was obviously taken out last year when this tree was styled. Yeah, picking the right hand tool for the job is always kind of weird for me. Because there's an element of, what you're more familiar with is going to be easier to use. And also, sometimes you can just tell that it's not the right shape for the job. So right now, I'm trying to just play with it. See, there we go. Which one of these will be best? Okay, so I'm taking my jinshari again, and I'm going to use this curved blade to come around the base of this branch. Try to make a definitive break in that cambium for this last bit. See if that won't let me. Just peel it right off. So, if you notice, I'm trying to expose this shinier orange spot. I'm not sure how well the camera's picking this up, and I apologize. And it might not be 100% doable, but that's that hardwood. And if we can get to the point where it's like just barely exposed and hasn't been scratched into, it's ideal. Like that's kind of the sweet spot with peeling. But it's okay because if we do go too deep, we can just try and mask it. And I am so embarrassed. I just found a little pad that I left wire on, so I'm going to get that real quick. Okay, this next one looks like it's going to be a little tricky. So I'm just going to see, can I peel it? Oh, thank goodness. Now, I am making a point to be really freaking careful right now because I know just how sharp this tool is, and anytime I start coming towards my own fingers, towards my face, try to make sure there's really good distance. Sometimes it's unavoidable and it's got to be done, but most of the time you can try and reposition so that you're not bringing a sharp little knife at your face. I've moved on to really this one nice big branch in the back to gem. And for this, I'm using, a curved chisel. Okay, I think I've kind of reached the end of what I can effectively do with that chisel, because these curves are a little weird. Now I've got my three-sided scoop. Now, when I'm using the scoops, I'm making sure that my fingers are well away, because I know that this has a tendency to catch and skip a little bit if it hits like an inconsistent texture. Okay. I'm going to try using this scoop now, mostly because of this point. I found that it's really good for areas where I need precision. Some tighter spots than the other scoop can, but it lacks the versatility. Like, it's really good in some spots, and other times it's just not the tool for the job. Okay. Gonna try going back to my Jinshari here, see if I can get into some of these areas that need cleaning up. So one thing that I'm finding pretty cool as I'm doing this here is now that I'm getting close to where it's all alive, like I can tell that this area is been dead for a lesser amount of time. Like, it's still difficult to get through, but there's almost like a tacky, gummy quality to it that I'm assuming is from the sap still being present. But the way this tool is going in just feels drastically different in this area compared to everywhere else. Now I am going to very carefully take my chisel, knock off. Now this bark is not old enough that it pops off easily, and it looks pretty old. So I am very delicately knocking off what I can. I am not going to force anything that doesn't want to here, because this is a really, really nice piece of Deadwood, and it deserves to have respect put on it. Yeah, so this branch had borers. And saying that for a couple reasons. One, I'm finding little engraving tracks. But two, there's like this resiny quality to the bark. Okay, I've got all that bark removed, so I am taking a step back to look at the Deadwood that I do have. The older stuff, I'm not going to mess with. You can't recreate that kind of age. But I am thinking about what I can do with the newer bits. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my cutters and see you guys in just a second. I'm going to shorten it there. And then I'm going to come from above and try to get horizontal. As I come to the tip here, now I can grab this. So I'm doing downward pressure. I think it gives a more believable look than just using tools for the breaks, especially when it's nice and rigid. Because if you can think about how would snow have affected it, you know, I'm not from a place with snow, so it's very hard for me to picture. But I know that I can simulate that snow load with my fingers, and maybe it'll snap. Looking at it, there is a nice balance with the shape of these deadwoods, and it even kind of mirrors the twin spires coming out of the top. So I think I do kind of want to leave this long, but I don't like it as long as it is, because it kind of makes this swoopy line, and I don't know how I feel about that. My instinct is to shorten to here. So knowing that it's very hard to put back, I'm going to start at this tip and try to shorten it, and ideally end an inch or so before that break. So that curve. Okay, that actually feels drastic, so I want to circle back to my front, check in. How does this feel? So I'll be a little lower. Say that ends there. No, I do think that just shortening this to here is the way to go. So I'm going to stop and come visit this, because if this branch ends up here, it just comes down a little too far. So I'm going to shorten, get my parallel cut, try to go straight through this branch. And then I'm going to grab that, peel it back. Hey folks, we're almost done for today, so I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links below. On our web store, we have a selection of American-made pottery. Over on Patreon, at the top tier, I'll send you a unique, one-of-a-kind Polaroid every month. And at the top 2 tiers, I'll feature your name in the credits of the videos released this month. And everybody who joins gets access to a growing library of behind-the-scenes photos and videos, so there's something for all levels of support. Okay, now I've just got some sandpaper here. I'm gonna just clean up a little bit before I call it done. All right, well, I'm done for today. I got all that old wire off, and I did some Deadwood work. Overall, I think this tree's looking like it's in great shape. I'm gonna go take it outside, give it some sun, and let it have the rest of the year off so it can recover. Styled, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before last, and then it was repotted this year. So I think at this point it's definitely earned a break. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.